Well, good morning guys and ladies. It's September 11th and I am out here on Lake Talcon today, and I'm kind of, oh gosh, halfway back in a creek this morning. It's getting to be fall, the days are getting shorter, and I believe some of these shad and these crappie are starting to migrate towards the back of these creeks. You bass fishermen will know what I'm talking about, but every fall we get a migration of shad into the very backs of creeks. And it looks to me like some of these crappie are starting to follow those shad. So I'm way back here, about halfway back in the creek, and saw a few scattered schools of crappie in here. So I thought it'd be a good day to get out here and see what we see on our 360. See if we can see these schools of crappie on this Mega 360, and show you how to use that Mega 360 to keep track of these schools and ease up on them with this Livescope. So hang with me, we're going to give this a try. I have not tried to see them with my Mega 360 in a long time, so we'll adjust that and see if we can actually see these fish on this Mega 360. So you guys hang with me. Alright guys, got your 360 on. I've got the range set at 65 feet. Everything else is pretty much factory settings, except that I slowed the speed down to 1, so that the beam's making a very slow sweep. And you guys, you can see the stumps and stuff there around us. So we're going to ease over towards where I marked one of those schools and see if we can find them and pick them up on this 360. Alright guys, there they are. I don't know if you guys can see the little white lines on top of that stump right there. Not a great picture of them with this side scan set out at this 360 set out at 65 feet. So let's let the boat settle in here for a second. Just see if we can get see the boat moved a little bit. They're over here to this side now. Let's see if we can clean that up a little bit. Contrast. I still like it right in there about the factory setting. Sensitivity. I'll leave that about 12. Actually, I kind of like that. I like the dynamic contrast on. Turn our speed up and see what that does. I don't think that hurt. Alright guys, so they are really hard to see, but I can actually see the little dots right there, and I believe that's the school of crappie. But the important thing is I can see that there's a big tree right out here in front of my boat, right here, and I can see that there's a big tree right here. Of course the boat moves, it's a little bit over this way now, but I can see little white dots on that tree. They may be hard to pick up on camera. So I'm going to take this Livescope, and there might actually be a couple little dots on that stump right there too. And we're going to ease up here a little bit closer and see what size school of crappie this is, and if it is indeed crappie. Alright, I still got them on the Livescope pretty good now. Let's see if we can clean up this picture and see them on this Mega 360 a little bit. There they are guys, you can see all the little dots right there. Can you see those? I don't know if you got a glare, but you can see the school of crappie. Let's play with the sensitivity a little bit and see if that does anything at all. Alright, so there's the tree right straight in front of us. I can see the crappie on it. Hard to see, but you can see them. think the sensitivity is making a big difference. Let's play with the contrast a little bit more. Turned it up just a hair. Let's see if that makes them show up any better or worse. Alright, I can see them still. I can see them over the top of the stump where they're casting white spots. I can't see them good off the stump. That doesn't help. Let's try slowing the beam down so it gets a slower sweep. Not going to update as fast, but we might get a little bit better picture. Let's find out. Alright. I don't know, it might have got a little more detailed. I think I can make out the individual fish a little better, but I can't actually see the fish better. I see the stump really well though, and it is definitely going to be handy for pointing you in the right direction. So I could zoom that out and see stumps and trolling motor straight to them, and then look for fish on them with the Livescope. Yeah, so you can see the little white dots, and they're all around that tree. And I can see them on my Livescope. There's pretty good wad of fish around that. So I'm gonna turn that speed back up just so I don't have to wait so long for the beam to come around. And guys, hold with me a minute, and I'm gonna flip this thing over to the Livescope, and we're gonna catch a couple of these. So hang with me. All right, guys, see them? See them much better with that Livescope than you can that 360, but with that Livescope it is a lot harder to see what's around you and know which direction to go if you don't already have them on the screen. So one of the big advantages of having that Mega 360 is when these fish are just scattered around on a bunch of stumps in here, I can turn that 360 on, I can see all the stumps around me and where they are, and I can go straight to them and check them for fish. And as you saw, you can actually see the fish on the stump some, if there's a pretty good batch of them. Ooh, we got a good breeze blowing out here this morning. Let's see if we can catch one of these fish. There's a jig right there in them. Came out after it. Did not bite it. Oh, there he was, he bit it and I missed him. For whatever reason, right this minute, they're not biting very well. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go back down here to this 360 and move y'all again. Alright, you can see the little shadows when they came off of that stump. Now you can see the shadows of the fish on that 360 where they're sitting out there in front of me. So there is another stump over here to our right that we saw on that 360. Let me drop this camera down just a little bit. You can see them now. See the dots and the little speckles and all the little shadows. You can see those fish now. Alright, so we're going to get off the trolling motor. We're going to drift backwards. We're going to check out that other stump we saw. See the school of fish now? You can see them over here to the side of the stump after I moved them around a little bit. Alright, so we're going to use this 360 to locate this other stump that was off to our right over here. And we're going to go check it out and see it. Yep, see it right there? It's right here. We're almost on top of it. Our 360 update, we'll know which direction to go. Alright, so here it is right out in front of us. And I believe I see some little dots on it. See it right here? So we're going to ease out here towards it. Let's see if there's fish on this tree. There's the tree on my Livescope, and yes, there are indeed fish on that tree. Not a big batch of them, but there is some fish there. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the camera or not. Supposed to be a little breezy of a day today. So guys, I am working this jig through this school of crappie. There's a big old school of crappie. You can see them on dots right here. And I don't know if it's the changing weather or what, but right now, this morning, these fish have lockjaw. They are not even touching this jig. They're not biting it at all. Chasing it just a little bit, but hardly even giving me any paying any attention to it at all. Oh, I got one. Oh yeah, nice little black crappie. Y'all probably can't see him in the reflection. I don't think I got a good enough glare this morning, but it's just a nice little 1.5 pound black crappie off that tree, and as you can see, there's definitely a wad of them there. Alright, so you guys just look at there, guys. There's a bunch of them over here to our right too. You see that? So see, that's where that 360 can be handy, because with my Livescope, I see that tree in front of me, and I see these fish that are right here in front of me, and there's some pretty good size ones making some good shadows. But what I do not see is I do not see these fish that are over here to my right hand side, and I would not know those fish were there if I was just sitting here fishing this tree in front of me with this Livescope and didn't have that 360 on to see that I could move over and target these fish. Now these fish back in here this morning, they're kind of oriented to structure. They're sitting on the structure. But if these fish were out in just open water, you would be able to see them like that. And a lot of times when I find them out in open water, these schools, as you start fishing for them, they swim off. And what that 360 allows me to do, it allows me to keep up with that school. So if they're swimming off as they get out of range of my Livescope, or move off to one side or the other, I can see where they went and I can follow them. So guys, that's kind of the 360 and kind of what I use it for. It comes in very handy. Now if you're bass fisherman, it really comes in handy if you're up in shallow water in a lake that doesn't have a huge amount of cover, and you want to see where that cover is to cast to. It makes a big difference there. But as you can see, it can be an advantage when you're out here crappie fishing as well, because with this 360 on and my Livescope on, I got pretty good coverage. Now I could turn this to be 360 degrees and be able to see behind the boat, but I find that I get a little bit bigger screen on this little 10-inch monitor if I just look at the front half of the boat ahead of me where I'm going. But that's what we use it. That's what I typically use it for, and it's definitely a tool, another addition to your tool set, and some days it can definitely help you out. So let me I'm gonna play with this thing for a minute and see if I can figure out why my waypoints. Normally it would show waypoints if I put a waypoint on here and mark that stump, it would show it on there. I'm not sure where my setting is for that since I updated all these units. So I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna see if I can play with these a little bit and go back to looking for crappie. Alright guys, now you can see what it's supposed to look like. I found the setting. I had to turn navigation on 360 on, but you can see this waypoint. I actually put a waypoint on that big old tree right there, so you can now see where those fish are. And I believe I can scroll over. I have a waypoint on this tree here too, but it's off a little bit, so we'll mark that on the 360. So see, you can see put a waypoint, so I can actually ease around out here and mark these fish and these stumps on my 360 up here on the dash. And those waypoints will also show up on my back there on my dash, and anything I mark back there on my dash will show up on this 360. So that's a big help as well. So now that I got that working, just wanted to show you guys that. So hang with me, we're gonna do a little fishing. Alright guys, switched up to a shad colored, a little more natural presentation. Switched up to a small Bobby Garland shad colored jig, and we finally got one to bite. But guys, the time of the year, I don't know what it is, but right now, this morning, for whatever reason, these fish are tough to catch. Alright guys, just another little guy. Maybe that's mostly what's down there, but I suspect there's some big ones down there. They just aren't feeding this morning for whatever reason. Crappie, still not a monster, but a respectable size one, eating size, probably 11 inches, 11.5 inches. But I tell you what, I've been chasing these crappie around right here, guys, and they are not biting today. It is tough. That's those school of crappie that I have been trying to catch, not very successfully. Let the boat settle in, and you get a little better look at them. You see them here, see the shadows they're casting? See some out here on the edge of the screen. And that's all I've been doing, is just easing. I tried to mark them as I came through here, and then I've been just kind of easing around slowly, using my 360 to keep an eye on where they are and where the next school is. And I've just been kind of easing from school to school and trying to get them to bite. See, this is the ones right here in front of me. See all the dots right there? And they're actually on my screen right now on my Livescope. Some over here to the right, out in front of the boat, some more. And this is just scattered crappie in this little area. You can see them coming on the screen right here pretty good. I actually see them up in the water column right there. Now this is on a Helix 10 Gen 3 model, so if you guys are wondering what a Mega 360 looks like on a 10-inch screen, that's what it looks like. Alright guys, I'm gonna wrap up this video. Sorry I didn't slay them, but I tell you, I tried to catch a few, and it was just tough. The fish just weren't biting this morning. I've got rain coming in. I see rain on the radar headed towards me. I don't know if you can see the clouds behind me back here, but I thought it was gonna be a prettier day than it turned out to be. So I'm gonna start making my way off this lake. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what crappie look like on a Mega 360. And it's just the time of year right now where it's just really tough to catch these fish. The crappie aren't biting very well, the bass aren't biting very well. I actually saw a big school of bass this morning, tried to catch some of them, and they weren't having none of it. So it's just that time of year. But you know, we got cooler weather coming. It's a little cooler this morning, and I suspect if anything, if it goes like it did last year, in about a month here, these fish will really fire up, and it'll get where you can really start catching them good. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of looking forward to the winter when they pile into the river channel and you can go around and snipe them. So you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the water next week.